Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I am pleased to be here to discuss our recently concluded work on wage and hours efforts to enforce the Fair Labor Standards Act. As you know, the Act protects more than 130 million workers from substandard wages and working conditions. We were asked to look at wage and hours efforts to ensure compliance with the Act from fiscal years 97 to 2007. Today, I will talk about our three key findings. First, the trends in wage and hours compliance activities, which include enforcement, partnerships, and outreach. Second, how effective it was in planning and conducting its compliance activities. And third, whether its efforts improve compliance with the Act. When we look at trends over 10 years, we found wage and hour used all three types of its compliance activities, but 81% of its efforts were on enforcement actions, and the remainder was spent on partnerships and outreach. Wage and hour defines a range of actions as enforcement, from investigations to quick conciliations, whereby an investigator will phone the employer. Mr. Coots will address these actions in his statement. Yet despite the high percentage of staff time devoted to enforcement actions, the number declined by more than a third over the 10-year period, from 47,000 to 30,000 actions. Agency officials said there were three reasons for this decline. They did more comprehensive investigations, which took more time. They changed the way they screened complaints, and they had fewer investigators. The number of investigators fell by more than over 200 over the 10-year period, or more than 20%. The majority of wage and hours enforcement actions were initiated by complaints from workers, and most of these were handled through conciliations. In the second area we reviewed, wage and hour does not use basic information called for in the Government Performance and Results Act, or GPRA, guidance to plan or carry out its compliance activities. Wage and hour does not have a clear picture of complainants it receives or complaint backlogs in its regional and district offices. Not all complaints are recorded, and offices differ in how they track backlogs. GPRA says understanding one's external environment is key to planning. Heavier workloads fall in offices where states have weak wage laws or enforcement. Yet headquarters does not consider this and has allocated about 5 new investigators to every region for the most recent years. GPRA guidance also stresses the importance of obtaining input from external stakeholders. District offices officials solicit input from external stakeholders, but these meetings are held after priorities are set at headquarters. The agency also does not fully use studies it commissioned and paid for. Researchers identified 33 industries, 9 in particular, where violations are likely to occur. Wage and hour officials told us it shifted its focus accordingly. However, since the completion of those studies in 2004, investigations of the top 9 have increased only 2%. Wage and hour has also not sufficiently leveraged available tools, such as hotlines and partnerships, to encourage compliance. Finally, we do not know whether wage and hour activities have improved compliance with the Act, because wage and hour frequently changes how it measures and reports its performance. The agency's long-term goals have remained the same over the 10-year period, but of the 131 performance measures it established, it reported on only 6 of them for longer than a year. We are making several recommendations to improve how wage and hour plans and conducts its compliance activities. We recommend the agency evaluate its complaint data, use input as appropriate from stakeholders, incorporate findings from its commissioned studies, and leverage existing tools. We also recommend wage and hour be more accountable by establishing, maintaining, and reporting on its performance measures. In conclusion, wage and hour is responsible for ensuring the basic rights of workers. but it does not know how effectively it is doing so. Given staff reductions, it is critical for Wage and Hour to use all available information and tools, and it must consistently measure its results to determine what works. Basic steps outlined on our recommendations address these challenges. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my prepared statement. I'd be pleased to respond to any questions you or other members of the committee may have. Thank you.